Hello, in this video, I'll show you how to color grade your studio photos and how you can easily transform your studio backdrops to make the photo look better when it comes to Photoshop. So right now, I'm done with the retouching of this very image. You can see before and after. In case you want to download this image to follow along with this tutorial, you can download the photo using the link in the video description. And to download the assets used later on, like the snoot effect in this kind of video, simply check the description as well to download that we're going to be using later on in this very kind of video. So you can see I'm done doing the skin retouching using frequency separation, and we want to focus more on color grading of this very image. So in order to work on this image, to color grade it regarding the skin tones, first of all, create a stamp visible layer by pressing Shift Option Command E on the keyboard, Shift Alternate Control E in case you're using Windows. Come to select and come to subject, and Photoshop is going to help us select the edges of the subject, and you can see it has done a pretty great job. Then come and create a new empty layer, change the blend mode from normal and change it all the way down to color. After changing the blend mode to color, simply come get the brush tool. The mode is normal, opacity and the flat 100%. Make sure soft round brush is selected. Then after that, just sample an area on the model skin that you want the rest of the skin to look like. So for this, I'll just click the option key on the keyboard or press the option key and sample a color of your choice. So I'm just going to sample from an area right here. Looks okay. And after sampling, option and click to sample a color. So I'll start painting that color over the rest of the model skin. And this helps me to achieve a uniform kind of skin color for my subjects when it comes to studio portraits. So just take your time. So click to paint color on the skin. So the reason as to why we selected the subject is because we don't want the color to spill over to other areas like the background in this case. That is why you have selected the subject layer so that the color doesn't spill over to the background areas. So I'm just going to quickly paint on the rest of the body. So take your time as you're doing this. So paint over the rest of the body, and this is going to help you get nice and even skin color for your model or for your subject or for the person whose photo you're trying to edit. So in case you're finding value at this point from this video, don't forget to hit the like button on this video because it helps you to push and recommend this video to so many people and photographers out there interested in learning about photography and how they can make their images better when it comes to Photoshop. So simply help me subscribe and click or tap on the like button on this very video. So you can see I've painted on those areas using the beautiful color. So I'm just going to paint right here on the lower part of the body. So don't mind if you paint extra color because we can transform or correct that color later on in this very tutorial. So this is not the end of the color grading regarding the skin tone. So I'm just going to increase on the size and paint on her legs just like this. And you can see by just doing this simple step or technique, it is going to make the image look a little bit better regarding the skin color or skin tones. So take your time as you're doing all this, and you have to be careful in some small areas. So ensure that you increase or reduce on the size of the brush tool by using the open and close square bracket keys on the keyboard to reduce or increase on the size of your brush tool depending on how big the area you're trying to work on is. So just going to paint like that. And better you can zoom all the way in to see or to be precise with the painting process regarding the skin. So I'll zoom all the way in. You can see at a distance I was making errors and I wasn't noticing them. That is why I have to zoom in to make sure that I've painted each single area that has or contains skin color or skin tones in this very image. So take your time as you're doing all this. So I'm just going to come right here and ensure that I've painted majority of the areas that have or contain skin color or skin tones. So once you're done painting majority of those areas that have skin tones, you have to come and perfect the areas whereby you have had a color spill to unwanted areas regarding this kind of process. So I'm just going to ensure that I've painted these areas. You can see this area has not been painted. So I'm just going to first of all press Command D to deselect the active selection, and I'm going to proceed with this process later on. So I'm just going to press Ctrl D or Command D because I feel like some areas were not selected by Photoshop when we are trying to select the edges of the subject. So I'm going to press Command D, or you can use Ctrl D to deselect the active selection. So Command D, Ctrl D, then get the eraser tool. So you can first of all paint using the brush in those areas that were not initially selected into the image. Then get the eraser tool and ensure that for the settings it is set to brush opacity at 100%, then flat 100%, and erase color from unwanted areas that we do not want paint that are not skin tones. So I just erase it from the toenails and on this strap. So you have to be careful, and good photos really take time, and you have to be careful with some steps when it comes to Photoshop. So I'm just going to paint on that strap like that to remove color from those areas. So I'm just going to come up and press B for the brush and paint every area that I feel wasn't painted quite well regarding the color of the model's skin. So I'll come up like this and ensure that I've painted majority of these areas. So I'm trying to rectify or eliminate color from some areas that I was not meant to paint in the first place. So get the eraser tool. The shortcut for the eraser is E on the keyboard. So just come and erase the effect. So take your time in case you want to have perfect results regarding this kind of process or technique. So B for the brush and paint color in those small areas that were not initially selected by Photoshop. So after that, I'll just come to the upper part of the body, and with the eraser tool, erase it from this area of the model's outfit. And you can see how all this is coming into or falling into place before the brush, and paint this area because it wasn't initially painted, and this other area. So once I'm done painting color in majority of the areas and I'm really comfortable and satisfied with the results from this kind of process, it is time to perfect the color once again. So in order to perfect the color regarding the skin tone, I'm just going to come and first of all reduce on the opacity of the color because sometimes it may look unnatural and unrealistic. So just come and reduce on the opacity. So I'll go with around 75 or about 75. I feel like that is fine and that looks okay. So after this, in case the screen is looking too orange or too reddish, come and create a hue and saturation adjustment layer. Select the reds and simply come to where you see the hue. So in case it's too reddish or orange, just play around with the hue slider and make it a little bit towards the green side. And in case it's too greenish, you can make it to or move this towards the red side. So I'll just add a tiny bit of greens to my skin tone, just like this, to slightly eliminate the oranges from the skin. So after that, just come to the lightness, and you can take down the lightness to reduce on the amount of oranges regarding the model's skin, so that the skin can look natural and realistic. You can see before, after. So after doing this, let's first of all brighten up her legs so they can have the same lighting as the rest of the body. So we are just going to come to this layer that we created initially before. Come and get the quick selection tool and click on the legs just like this. So make sure it is on the plus icon and you add the legs to the selection. So just click. You can zoom in. So click to add a selection like that. So just click right here and add her legs to the selection. So you're just trying to select the legs in this case. So ensure that you have selected each and every area that has our subject's legs, because you don't want to brighten some areas and you don't, or you leave out some other areas. So just ensure that you have selected each individual area that has the legs of the subject So after this, just come and create a brightness and contrast adjustment layer. Take the contrast down and simply move the brightness slider up, just like this. So this is going to make the legs of the subject bright and the colors are going to be matching. So I feel like they are too bright, so I feel like about there, that is fine. So after that, we are going to come and create another adjustment layer, which is the selective color. And for selective color, just come and target the blacks and come the cyans and move the cyan slider forward, just like this. And this is going to make the blacks look a little bit more cinematic. After you have done this, it is time to work on the background. So for the background cleanup, create a stamp visible layer by pressing Shift Option Command E, Shift Alternate Control E on the keyboard to create a stamp visible layer. And after doing that, simply come and first of all select our subject. And after selecting the subject, remember we want to work on the background, meaning we instead have to select the background. In this case, come to select and come to inverse to select the background instead of the subject. So once you have done that, just come and get the spot healing brush tool. The mode is set to normal, content aware is selected, and you can now increase on the size of the spot healing brush tool by using the bracket keys on the keyboard and click over any distraction that you want to remove from the image. So just take it in bits and don't paint using a very big selection. So just paint slowly and you can see the softbox has now been gotten rid of. So you can see it is leaving this annoying color, but we're going to be perfecting that later on in this exact tutorial. So click and double click and remove any kind of distractions. So just click on these tips down there. So in order to make the background look seamless and look better, we are simply going to come and first of all get the brush tool and make sure it is soft round brush and make sure for mode is set to normal, opacity at 100%, flow at about 64%. Then we just want to sample color on the background and remove or create a seamless color for our studio backdrop. So for this, I'll just hold down the option key on the keyboard, option for Mac, alternate for Windows, option, click on a color to copy it and simply start painting over the rest of the colors that I don't want. So option and choose a good area and sample, option and paint, option, paint, option, paint, option, paint. So by just simply doing this, you can see the image is now looking better regarding the background in this case. So take your time as you're doing this, because at the end of the day, you don't want any or the color inconsistencies to be all over the image. So take your time as you're doing this. So you can see this area of the image now looks better. So for this area that looks to look bright, you can sample from this area and try to paint, or you can choose any dark tone from this area and start painting that color. I feel like this color looks okay. So paint, sample paint, just like that. And by just doing these simple adjustments, you can see that the background is starting to look better than where we started initially with this very video or with this tutorial. So I'm just going to sample. So I'll just sample any color from here and try to blend that top area. So if at all, or in case the colors don't look or they're not merging better, I'll show you a technique that you can use to make the colors to look better in this case. So I'm just going to sample and paint right there. So in case the colors are not blending quite well, simply come and get the mixer brush tool. And you know the role of the mixer brush tool is to blend. So get the mixer brush tool, make sure clean brush is selected. And for the settings, make sure the weight is 9. And this option that says clean brush after each stroke is selected. So clean brush. Then this second option that is clean brush after each stroke is selected. The weight is 9%. Load is 75. Mix is 90. Flow is 100%. And we just want to blend the transitions like we do for the skin retouching. So I'm just going to try to blend and create a smooth transition between the colors in the skin tone or in the background rather. So this time around we are working with the background and not skin tone or skin color. So I'm just going to quickly paint like that, and you can see it is going to create a nice and beautiful transition between the colors that we have just been painting over the background of this very image. So take your time as you're doing this. So I'm just going to come to the lower part of the image and try to blend all these dirty areas right here on the foreground of the image. So like I said, take your time and don't eliminate the original or initial shadows in the image. So I'm just going to slightly zoom in and just leave this fold in the background because it creates shape, or it gives the overall image dimension. So I'm just going to do this, and you can see by just doing these tiny or small adjustments, you can now see that the studio backdrop is now looking smooth and seamless. So take your time. So for the mixer brush tool, basically you don't have to paint very close to the subject because sometimes it may cause a little bit of color spill from the subject onto the background, which we don't want. Remember, we just want perfect our studio background or studio backdrop in this case. So just slightly paint right there and increase on the size and try to blend all these dirty areas on my backdrop. So if I was not doing a tutorial or if I wasn't talking, this would have taken just like a minute. So I have to explain every step to you guys so that you can follow up and understand everything or every step quite well and apply it to your images during this kind of process. So Command minus to zoom out. So I'm just going to try to see in case I've blended this area on her head quite well, so that I don't have any more color inconsistencies. So once you're done doing this, the next step is going to be working or stretching the background better and to look better, because I feel like the framing of the image wasn't looking right. So I'm just going to try to resize or reframe. So press Command D, or you can use Control D to deselect the active selection. And after deselecting the active selection, we are simply going to come and try to stretch our backdrop. So in order to stretch it, get the crop tool and ensure you have chosen a ratio of 4:5. Then I'm just going to pull this higher like that and try to place my model right in the center of the frame, just like this. So you can see right now she's centered and she's in the center of this very photo. So you can even stretch it higher in case you feel like. So hit enter or return, and you can see that we have now one issue, that is these lines. So for the lines, just get the spot healing brush tool, and with the spot healing brush tool you can try to first of all come and paint over this, and in case you can see it is trying to fill in these black borders and it is stretching the image in this case. So just click like this and you can see how simple the steps are regarding trying to fill in these areas of the backdrop. So once you're done doing that, we're just going to transform and make the background even look more beautiful. So now to make the background look more beautiful, we are going to first of all come to filter, come to our camera raw filter, and before we do that, we first of all want to convert this layer into a smart object so that we can be able to change the values later on after applying them. So right click on the layer and come to convert to smart filter right here. Then after that, just come to filter, come to camera raw filter, and as you know, for this blue background, I'm not a fan of this blue shade, so I'm just going to come to my hue, saturation and luminance under color mixer and play around with the hue. So I just prefer it to be towards this kind of aquas, and I'm just going to come to the luminance and darken the background color, just like this. And you can see how this transforms the overall image and gives it a whole new look. So you can even come the saturation and either increase on the intensity or the saturation or reduce on the saturation to your taste or to your liking. So you can see the before, after, before, after. Right now, here we are right now. So I'm just going to come and click OK. And you can see by just doing this simple adjustment, the image now looks better. You can see before, after, before, after. So we are done doing the color grading rather, and also removing the distractions from the backdrop. So for the next step, we are going to duplicate this layer by pressing Command J. I'm just going to undo, Ctrl Z to undo, create a stamp visible layer, Shift Option Command E on the keyboard to create a stamp visible layer. Then after that, just come, select, and come to select subject. And Photoshop is going to help us to select the subject. And you can see it does a pretty nice job to select the subject for us. After that, we want to copy and paste the subject on a brand new layer. So press Command C, Control C for Windows, Command C for Mac. Then press Control V, or you can use Command V to paste the subject on a brand new kind of layer. Select this bottom layer. Then we are going to come to our snoot effects. And in order to download the snoot effect, you simply check the link in the video description and import it after downloading it to your Photoshop. So I'm just going to come and get the rectangular marquee tool and choose any effect that I feel like I prefer for this kind of photo. So for this, I'm just going to choose, I think I prefer this kind of effect. So you can choose any effect that you prefer for this kind of photo. So I'm just going to choose this effect, click and drag down to make a selection of the snoot effect, but keep within the black borders surrounding the snoot effect. Ctrl C to copy, Command C to copy, then come back to the image that we are editing. So you can even choose any effect that you prefer or you like, and you can even use this. So let's try using this to create a little bit of changes. So I'm just going to select this one instead, Ctrl C to copy it and come to the image. Then with this layer below the subject layer selected, press Ctrl V, or you can use Command V to paste our background. So after pasting the background, you can simply press Command T to transform. So hold down the Option key on the keyboard and click on the corners to stretch our beautiful background effect, just like this. And you can see this is going to make the image even look better. After stretching this, hit enter or return, then simply come to this layer and come and convert it to a smart object. And after converting it to a smart object, simply come to the blend mode, change it from normal and change it to screen. And that is going to hide the black borders from the image. And after doing that, we are going to come and we blur the effect. So simply come to filter, blur, come to Gaussian blur so that the effect can look better and look a little bit more realistic. So I'm just going to move or blur the effect in the background just like this. So depending on what you want as a photographer. So I'm just going to go with around about 24 looks okay. I'm just going to click OK. So once I'm done doing that, in case you want to add color to your background effect, come and create a hue and saturation adjustment layer. Then you can come down here and simply click on colorize. And after clicking on colorize, click on this clipping mask icon so that the effect can affect the layer just below here and not the overall image. And you can simply come to the hues and play around with the hue of the color just like this. And you can play around with the saturation levels of the color to add color or to add any given color that you want to your studio snoot effect just like this. And you can as well come and reduce on the color or the intensity of the snoot in the background just like that, so that it can look natural and a little bit more realistic. I feel like about there, this looks okay and it looks great. So let's see where we started and where we are right now regarding this very image. And by the way, you can as well change the ratio or the size, and press Ctrl T with this layer selected, click OK, and you can resize the snoot effect to your taste or to your liking. So option and move to resize the snoot effect. So you can make it smaller, or you can even make it a little bit bigger, and hit enter or return. So this is how you can transform your studio backdrops by color grading and adding this kind of snoot background or effect to it. So you can see the overall before and after, before, after of this very image. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget, keep practicing and as well keep creating.